changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again.
Yeah. You ain't see me activated. You better hope that you never see me agitated. I think about my actions, plan them out, evaluated. That's how I end up on the top, man, I'm calculated. My mind's a weapon, my body is the engine. I'm never second guessing, I just do what I was destined. Cause I feel I got the blessing, persistence and obsession. That's how you keep progressing, I already learned that lesson, yeah.
I'm changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again. You can't stop what's moving. You can't stop what's moving. I'm changing my life, and I won't look back ever again.
No fear, see clear, you deserve to be great. I know it feels like things get in your way. Push through those walls and the others will fall. Sit up, stand tall, you can get through it all. I need some energy, anxiety's no friend to me. I have a short memory, I don't really remember things. That's how I move on, that's how I stay strong. A new day's on, I'll keep moving right along. And I feel like the pain in the past, it needs to stay in the past. You gotta take off the cast. I wanna feel like I'm a new person. I wanna have clear vision and purpose. And I feel like the pain shouldn't last. If you can move on and past the things that make you feel bad, and you can change in your brain, I'm certain. I've done it before, and man, I'm not perfect.
I'm changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again. You can't stop what's moving. You can't stop what's moving. I'm changing my life, and I won't look back ever again.
Hello, hello. I feel like YouTube no copyright music has the odd banger in there, for sure. Although that is very, I feel like that song is very emo, but it's actually quite a good one. I quite enjoy it. I feel like there's so much stuff, like I don't like this one that's on right now. I've just took the headphones off now. I feel like this one is kinda, you know, I don't really like this one as much. Anyway, so hello, welcome to the Matchday 14 deadline stream. I've put a pinned message in the chat of what the plan is for today, because it's a 2.5 hour live stream, and I don't want to sit here answering questions for 2.5 hours, and you don't want to sit here listening to me answering the same questions for 2.5 hours. So I feel like we might as well have some general chat for a little bit. That lets us kind of talk a little bit about UCL fantasy, or just UCL in general, and then we will get fully into team questions at about 6:30 if everyone is happy with that. So yeah, I think we can obviously just, you know, if you want to throw anything in the chat, we can chat about it, and it really just lets us kind of go through everything regarding this week. You know, I won't focus. I will obviously still look at the chat, but in terms of answering every single question I can see, I will keep that until 6:30, if everyone is happy for that. Now I have actually moved the camera, and it's annoying me because I've got my OBS up on the screen, and I look at my screen, which is here, and usually my face, I'm looking here for the camera. So it's annoying me because I'm looking at my OBS and it looks like I'm supposed to be looking at the camera, but I'm not actually. So yeah, I apologise. I'm looking at my screen right here, and then the camera's here, and then the chat's over here. So that's kind of how things are for today. Because I need to charge my phone, I use my phone as my webcam, and my charger has been horrendous recently. So that's getting charged while I'm using it. And saying that, do you know what, I better quickly pop myself on Do Not Disturb, because I've had this problem before. Hold on. Technical issues. And let that focus. Hold on. There we go. Right. Now we're good to go. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Brian and Buemo. Hello. It's great to have you here after a very disappointing defeat last night. Callan Bubatic. Hi mate, how's it going? John, hello. How are we? Would you do Valverde, Fermin and Virgil to Elise, Vitinha and Arsenal defender? Or Szoboszlai, Dembele and Virgil to Alvarez, Elise and Saliba? I wouldn't sell. I don't really think Szoboszlai is a sell, and I don't really think Dembele is a sell this week. So I would probably do Valverde, Fermin and Virgil. I think that transfer looks best. Joe, good to have you here, mate. Thank you very much for coming in. Virgil and Szoboszlai, obvious transfers out this week. To be honest, I think it's got a very difficult week in terms of transfers, in all honesty. You know, if you've watched the team selection, I was very much struggling. I feel like I've got a little bit more of an idea of what I want to do tonight, which we can kind of chat about over the next hour or so. But yeah, I think Van Dijk will probably be someone that I sell. It really depends. Maybe I'll end up keeping him. I feel like I've massively discounted Alvarez despite him having a haul or two. Do you know what? A lot of people seem to be putting him as a priority transfer this week. He's a very, very popular player for people to get in. I was watching a bit of Reaction stream. He was live as well, or he still is live. I was watching him, and he seems to really want to get Alvarez in as well. Thoughts on Ruggeri, Gyökeres to Nkappi and Ferran? I believe Barca will go all out. I don't think Ferran's expected to start. I think I obviously will wait and see what happens with the lineups, but I think it'll probably be Lewandowski that starts up top. Buy Luis Diaz or Gyökeres instead of Dembele. I've already got Doué and Kvara and Elise and Kane. I would probably go for Gyökeres. I think that's a good move there. Sharif. If we had a few more minutes last night, maybe we've won. Do you know what? I've actually got Mbeumo in my fantasy team, my FPL team. Fuming. Because even Calvert-Lewin, I was basically like in my mini league, I'm about 60 points ahead. I'm 60 points at the top of a mini league with about 60 people in it, and I think it was £20 per head. So the winner gets like £1,200, 60 points ahead, and I had Mbeumo last night. Everyone, basically second, third and fourth in the league, all wildcarded into exactly the same team. And they basically all had Calvert-Lewin and Bruno last night, and I had Bruno and Mbeumo last night. So I really needed Mbeumo to do something, and I've been waiting for Mbeumo to do something for weeks, and it just never came. Almighty Tiger, how are we? I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. William, how's things? How are we? Should I sell Salah? We will see the lineups tonight, so we'll see whether Salah is starting. If he is starting, I would just keep him. Ruggeri or Cancelo? For this week, I prefer Cancelo. But obviously, you've got to think long term, and Barca are likely to go out. Is it essential to bring in Kane? Honestly, I think so. You know he's he's very likely to make it through to the semis where you're going to want him anyway. And I think, you know, we're obviously from our captaincy video yesterday, or this morning, he was very, very high on the list for captaincies. I think it's a 70% chance of an anytime goal or assist. I think he's got the highest predicted points as well this week. So yeah, I think Kane. I would much rather have Kane than anyone else this week. Salah benched, according to Fabrice Hawkins. I'll have a quick look at that in a minute. Joe, Alvarez a trap this week, staying with Mbappe. I don't think I'm really interested in Alvarez, to be honest. I don't think Atletico attackers is the place to go this week. and next week they will likely be playing against Arsenal, which of course is the best defence in the world right now. So I don't really like Alvarez. I'd probably rather go for a 1 week punt somewhere else. Stavia up to 234th, can't decide whether to play safe and try hold rank or go rogue and try climb higher. I think I would just play safe, to be honest. At 234th you can just make the right decisions, and you will still go up rank, so I wouldn't worry too much. I think it's trying to hold that will see you get good green arrows while everyone else is trying to kind of go for a little bit different. So I think at 234th I'd definitely play as safe as you possibly can. Sparta, how's it going? Can we roll transfers? Lee, we can't, unfortunately. It's just the league stage that you can roll transfers. So if you don't use any of your 3 that you're given, they do get burned, unfortunately. Oh, can't hear me because of the music. Is the music too loud? Apologies. It should be better. Would you sell Furman? Honestly, there's so many midfielders that I would like to buy this week, and Furman probably wouldn't be in that list. I think if you are struggling and you've got the money, I probably would sell Furman. But I can understand why a lot of people, are keeping him. Perfect. Sorry, I apologise the music was loud. I actually thought I turned it down, but yeah, that should be okay. Do I keep Rashford or get Lewandowski? I would just keep Rashford. Diaz, Vinny, Van Dijk out for Alvarez, or Dembele, Elise and Saliba. I like Elise and Saliba. Between Dembele and Alvarez, I'd get Dembele. Carlos, hi mate. Thanks for the content. How soon does Barca score today? It's a good question. I think they really need to get an early goal. And I think I'm going to go for a Yamal captaincy tonight. In which case, I hope it's Yamal that gets the early goal. Don't sell Suarez. Sporting's going through to the semis. Do you know what? I'm going to be honest. I really want to sell Suarez. 2 players flagged. Hanko and Rice. Bringing in Trossard for Rice. No idea who for Hanko yet. Waiting to see the Atletico lineup. Is Trossard definitely going to start? I actually haven't really seen much. Like, obviously predicted lineups are pretty scarce these days, so I've not got much to post about it because there's only, a certain amount of a handful of teams left. Hanko definitely, obviously. I think, well, John Hanko wasn't in the Atletico travelling squad, so he's definitely out. Jamie, Vinny and Diaz to Elise and Alvarez. Probably will happen, but do like Pacho to Ruggeri for some Atleti cover. I mean, I'm tempted to do Ruggeri to Pacho this week, Jamie. Vinny to Elise, I think, is on the table for me as well this week. Diaz to Alvarez, I think it's a bit of a sideways move. I think I would rather have Diaz. But again, it's kind of like 50-50 in that sense, isn't it? FPL Sum, how's it going? Calafiori out? I think so. Felipe, how are we? What's your take on the Barca forwards for today, Lewandowski or Rashford? I mean, I don't really think there's much you can differentiate between both of them, unfortunately. Yeah, it's kind of hard. From what I've seen, I can't remember who left the comment on one of the videos, but Lewandowski's missed 2 penalties this year. So the penalties is going to be between Rafinha and Yamal. So obviously Yamal looks as though he will be the penalty taker with Rafinha out. So between Rashford and Lewa, it's just kind of, a 50-50 at that point. They both could do great. Realistically, I think if I had the money, I would go for Lewandowski. But I'm struggling with budget. So I might go for Rashford. The Voltreon, how's it going? Could you give an exact prompt that you put in the FPL app to create that logo with the B and the lightning strike style? I'll be honest, I think it took me like 3 tries. I think I just said, can I get a light blue B with a purple background that has a lightning strike as part of the font? I think it was something like that. Diaz or Gyökeres? Probably Gyökeres, because you've probably already got Kane. Lee, I have the same front 3 as you. All play tomorrow. Do they all play tomorrow? I never even realised that. Yeah, I'm tempted for an attacker today. I want to try and get Suarez out. Either for Rashford, Dembele, Gyökeres. Like, there's a couple of players I'd like, which is kind of just dependent on what budget I've got. Is Rice and Gnabry a doubt? I think Gnabry will be a doubt purely because I think Musiala has a good chance of starting. I don't know, I've not seen anything particularly about Gnabry and an injury. Rice looked as though he picked up a small injury and he wasn't in training today, so he might not be available tomorrow. Right, what I'm going to do, we're 20 minutes in already, and I said this was going to be just a general chat, and I feel as though we are kind of leaning into the team questions a little bit more than I want to for this first hour. So I'm going to quickly, what I'll do for the next little bit is just focus on this for now. Because I want to try to, at least let me talk about my team, my plans, and we can have a look at FUTMob and stuff like that, and have a look through some things, and then I will get back to team questions at roughly 6:30, and I'll still look over and all that, and if I spot anything, then I'll try my best to answer it. But yeah, so right now for my team, I think the biggest thing for me is I'm looking for some sort of budget, because I don't want Ruggeri this week and I don't want Suarez this week, and that's 2 very cheap players. At the same time, obviously, in terms of trying not to burn a transfer, I think I might just take Oblak out this week. Now, he's only 5.7 million now, so I've lost a little bit on him, but basically, when we look at the draw, obviously Arsenal and Atletico are on the same side of the draw. So next week, if they do both make it through, then they'll be playing each other and playing on the same day. So I think I'm going to sell Oblak and go for someone on this side of the draw. So I think Safanov just looks like the easy option in that case, because everyone else is a pretty expensive goalkeeper. Now that is going to give me double PSG defence, which is absolutely fine. But then I can go for a more cheaper goalkeeper, and then I can free some budget up. So I think that's kind of what makes sense for me this week. However, it does kind of use up a transfer. Now, in terms of the rest of the team, I think right now, I'd like to maybe get these 3 out. The rest, I would be happy to keep. Potentially Vinicius Jr. as well, depending on what budget I need. So that's where I'm at. And again, up front, it's kind of that decision. Do you go for someone who's likely to go out? Rashford's only 7.3 million, which is really, really nice, and makes things a lot easier for me in terms of the budget. But then, I could sell Van Dijk and go for a 5.5 million, but then I feel like I don't want to go without Elise this week. So if I sell Vinicius Jr. as well, let's say we sell Oblak to Safanov, we sell Vinicius Jr. to Elise. That leaves me with 8 million to get rid of Suarez, which again does allow me to pick up Rashford, which I don't actually think is that bad of a move. What game am I going to watch today? I'll probably watch the Liverpool game, but I'll keep an eye on both. I'm not going to be taking a -4 though, no. I will just stick to the 3. But yeah, I don't mind that. I think that kind of sets me up quite well going forward, because in terms of who will likely get eliminated, it's either going to be Ruggeri or 2 Barca players. So we'll base it on the odds right now. 2 Barca players going out. Only 1 Real player, and then 2 Liverpool players. That'll be 5 players eliminated with my 5 transfers. So I just have to hope that there's no injuries between now and the semi-final. I don't know if that's kind of the right move to go for. I know the Ruggeri 10-pointer last week was pretty mental. Annoying, because I never played them. Actually, to see now I'm looking at that, that was like first draft, and that's actually, I quite like those moves. Let's say I kept Suarez, did Vinicius to Elise, and then I wanted to get rid of these 2. The problem is this week as well now, I've got Ruggeri and Van Dijk, 2 players that I don't really want to have, but at the same time, I don't really want any other defenders this week. My options are really PSG defenders, Pacho or Nuno Mendes, and they don't really excite me that much this week either, and I think Liverpool probably score. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards just keeping these guys, and then we'll move them on next week. Johnny, Mbappe's not going to stay captain. And yeah, they obviously play tomorrow, so I will move that when the time comes. It says I have 8.9 million in the bank, but it lets me get Gyökeres. Will it cause problems? I would probably in that case just be safe, because we had the extra transfer glitch at the start of the season, which then gave everyone a -4 after the deadline. So I would just play it safe and maybe not go for Gyökeres, but double check, because if you've got the money in the bank, then obviously you can go for it. Sadashian. Hi mate, can we get a limitless draft? Sure, let's make a limitless draft. How would I play it? Probably something like that. I would go for Vinicius, to be fair. For a 1-week punt team, suppose you can go for whatever, can't you? So I guess I'm trying to think. I'd wait till oh no, you're not going to know Arsenal lineups, aren't you? Right. I'd pick Arsenal defenders, because I don't really think you can go much else. And obviously the clean sheet odds are really high this week. I think if I had to pick any striker, I'd maybe just take the gamble on Lewandowski. Midfielders, I'd be tempted by a Salah pick. No, I think he's supposed to be on the bench, isn't he? I mean, I actually don't mind Szoboszlai, wherever he is. Szoboszlai. And then in defence, I guess you could just play safe and go for like a Nuno, something like that. I don't know who the other goalkeeper would be actually, whoever at that point, but yeah, I'd probably go for something like that in a Limitless. Is it worth buying Raya? I've already got double Arsenal defence. Yeah, I would say so. Should I go Vinicius to Elise and use the money for Diaz to Alvarez? I'm not the biggest fan of Alvarez, to be fair, Luffy, but I like the Vinicius to Elise transfer. thinking of selling Van Dijk for Pacho. I was tempted to. I think I did it in my team selection video this week. So yeah, I don't mind that transfer either. Let's see. Let's just have a scroll and see what we've got. I don't think we've really got any Hugo Ekitike starts tonight for anyone interested. Still got about 45 minutes until lineup's coming out. Liverpool, sorry, there you go. So there's some confirmation of Salah. Salah's on the bench for the second leg. Interesting. Yeah, there's another one. Saka on the bench. Salah on the bench. So Ekitike's starting, Salah's on the bench. That means it's probably going to be Szoboszlai, Wirtz, maybe Ngamoha. Something along those lines. Let's have a look at the UCL fantasy hashtag and just see where people are at. Oh. Dembele to Alvarez. Oh, what the hell was that? My whole screen just went grey. Osama, how's it going, mate? Hope the stream's going well. My 3 transfers will be Diaz, Rashford, Safanov. What do you think? I love it. To be fair, I think 2 of those transfers are 2 transfers I'm tempted by for myself. Yeah. I like it. Tough choice right now. What do you think? Should I take Kvaratskhelia and then the defender will be 4.1 million, or should I go for Dewey at 4.3? If you go for Dewey, then you can get Ruggeri for Atletico if you want to go there. I think Vitinha is just the easy, safe option most of the time, and then that kind of lets you get a more expensive defender. I think defenders are quite hard to buy this week, because I don't think there's going to be many clean sheets with all the games being so close. You have to sell Vinny or Yamal. I would sell Vinicius, easy. Seems Yamal is a popular captain, not feeling it. I mean, that's fair. I mean, he's not on the best of form, other than the weekend. He's not really done too much recently. The transfers don't roll into the semi-final, unfortunately, no. Instead of Calafiori, I mean, I would just go to a Gabriel or Saliba and just make the easy move to another Arsenal defender. It'll be Isak and Ekitike up top. Do you think so, Meerkat? Yeah, I don't mind that. Has Isak came back yet? I'm assuming he got some minutes at the weekend. I don't know if he's made an appearance. I didn't really see much about it. Rank the top 3 midfielders and attackers apart from the template. So rank the top 3 attackers outside of Dembele, Mbappe and Kane. Unless I'm missing anyone, it would probably be Lewandowski, Gyökeres, Rashford. Oh, Lewandowski, Rashford, Gyökeres. I would probably go for midfield. You've got Elise, Vinny, Kvaratskhelia, Yamal. I would probably have... I've got someone in my head and I can't remember who it is. Vitinha. But then again, ceiling isn't massive. But Vitinha, Szoboszlai, and... I don't know, I can't think of another one. Vitinha, Szoboszlai. Maybe you could gamble on a Musiala. Puller Poo as well. Don't have enough money for Saliba. Should I go for Mosquera and Cape? I think your best bet is going for Hincapié. I think he's getting, like, Mosquera you're going to be selling in the next round. So yeah, I think your best bet's probably Hincapié, hoping that he will play in the next round. Is it mad to sell Alvarez, 100th in the world? It's probably a bit of a chasing pick, because I think Alvarez is safe, and I think at 100th in the world you are best just staying with the safe option. I think Alvarez is he one of the highest owned forwards? Yeah, so your front three is Mbappe, Kane, Alvarez. I would probably just keep Alvarez. Sorry for the last question being too long. Don't worry about it, Sama. A lot of players are suspension risks, and that's what I'm kind of worried about in this Atletico and Barca game. And I think that kind of is what's leaning me towards selling Ruggeri this week, because Ruggeri's up against Yamal, and if he gets booked, he's suspended, even if Atletico do go through. So once again, I am now looking at a team trying to work out what I actually want to do with it. And if I'm going to sell any defender, I'll probably go for Pacho. Or if I'm going to buy any defender, because there's no one that's really exciting me all that much. But then that leaves me with 1 million to try and sell Suarez, and it's not great. So I'd probably have to do something like that. And then leave 2.3. The thing is, do you know what's annoying? 2.3 million leaves me exactly enough to buy Rashford up front, but there's no way I'd be taking a hit, but that's very annoying. The only thing is maybe you just keep Ruggeri. As much as I want to sell Ruggeri and Van Dijk this week, I just can't see any better defenders to pick up. So I think I've got to kind of just leave it to next week. And Diaz is not bad. Rashford as well. It's tough. 8 million to pick up. 8 million to pick up someone up front. What about Nuno versus Pacho? I like Nuno, he's just too expensive this week. He'll probably be one that I end up picking up for Van Dijk when Liverpool get eliminated. But this week it's just too much money to try and buy him. Do I think there'll be any clean sheets this game week? I think the only team that's got a chance of keeping a clean sheet is Arsenal. I think Bayern and Real is easy, both teams to score. Liverpool are going to score against PSG, and Liverpool are not good enough to keep a clean sheet against PSG either. What else? Who's the other games? Arsenal and Sporting. I think Arsenal could keep a clean sheet. And then you've got Real and... I've already said Real and Bayern. What game am I missing? Barca Atletico. I don't think they keep clean sheets either. Ruggeri's not the best defender this week, but Atleti win. You basically have no assets if you sell. That, as much as that's true, I still think Ruggeri will get booked, and then he'll miss next week anyway. I'm going this week with 0 Bayern and Atletico. It's either top 10 or 1,000. I don't mind going this week without Atletico players. I don't know if there's many of those guys that really pick up a lot of points this week. I think no Bayern is suicide, but that's crazy. Would you keep Ekitike or transfer him to Diaz? I would probably have Diaz higher on my list this week, to be fair, than Ekitike. So maybe I'll go for Diaz. Who do I think will be the 4 Arsenal defenders? I think Arsenal's defence is going to be Hincapié, Gabriel, Saliba and White. I think it'll probably still be too early for Timber. Let me also double check that Safon... Oh no, PSG postponed their game again this week, didn't they? Yeah, I'm guessing Safona have played in the Champions League. Yeah, he did. I think I feel like it's a move that makes sense because it frees up budget and obviously gives me a goalkeeper. I want to get Elise. And then what do I do with the remaining budget? There's no defenders that I want. I feel like this is just what I've got to do. I've just got to try and pick a forward at this point. So the available ones: Ekitike, Diaz, or Rashford. Man like KB. Any updates on Barca for Furman? Seen him in and out of predicted lineups. I know. We've got, what, 30 minutes, 35 minutes to see. I've not seen anything on him myself. I have seen him in and out of the lineups, so I guess we just wait and see. 35 minutes before the official ones come out. Dembele will score. He was mad for not scoring last game. I really like Dembele this week, to be fair, as well. I'm a Madrid fan and Mendy will pocket Elise. What do we think? Who should the third striker be? Between Ekitike, Diaz and... where is the other one? Rashford. Let's hear it. I don't think I would go for Ekitike. Especially because I've already got Szoboszlai and Van Dijk. The last thing I want to do is bring in another Liverpool player. So Diaz or Rashford is really my only dilemma here. Now, do you go for a third Bayern attacker? Or do you go for Rashford and take a second Barca attacker? Diaz. I do not know what the shark means. Rashford for sure, or Lewa. I would like to get Lewa in this week. It's just obviously the budget. Ah, Ferran Torres' nickname, I see. Ferran Torres would be a big one if he started, but again, I think... Do you know how much... See, I probably would go... Like, I could go for Ferran Torres. No, does that really matter at this point? Actually, I don't think it does. I was going to say because the budget would open up massive if he started, but it doesn't really change much. Diaz, a more solid option. I feel like he needs to start. I don't know, it'd be... Do we really think Ferran Torres starts over Lewandowski? Ferran started at the weekend, didn't he? He did very well as well, to be fair. Rashford. Gakpo has been awful. Between Szoboszlai and Vinicius, I'd probably have Vinicius. That's a point actually. Is there a way I can keep Vinicius and get... I don't really want to sell Szoboszlai either, to be fair. But is there a way I can get Elise in here? No. Not even a little bit. Oh, you meant Fireman. Sorry. Who's the other option? Is it Olmo that would start in that position? Punt on Rio if he starts. Elvis, I don't know what that is, I'll be honest. Rashford scoring. See, to be honest, I think I would be more leaning towards Rashford as a 1 week punt. It's just where it leaves my team after that. Because I'm guaranteed having to take out at least 2 in the PSG Liverpool game. If Atletico go through, then I need to take another 2 out, and then it'll probably be Mbappe as well. I mean, it's not that bad a situation, to be fair. I feel like I can kind of afford 1 punt. I think there's a good chance. It's really just between what's going to be the higher scoring game between Bayern, Real, or Barca Atletico. And I'm thinking because I've already got the 2 Bayern guys in Kane and Elise, I'll maybe just punt on Rashford. Do I think Ekitike does something? I mean, maybe, but he's pretty low down on my list, to be honest, this week. Man like KB says, like the stream. I always forget to say how many viewers are we are. Let's just refresh the chat. We're 183 viewers. We've only got 38 likes, guys. Let's get that up a little bit and boost the stream. If you haven't yet liked the video, make sure to jump down and do so. It only takes 2 seconds. Best captain today, I think it's Yamal. If you're looking for reasoning why, I've got a whole captaincy video on the channel that came out this morning. Should I quit this game if I'm thinking of going for Bellingham and captain him tomorrow over Vinicius Jr.? I've not seen enough of Bellingham this season. I've not seen a big haul from him in a long time, especially in Champions League Fantasy. Has he been injured for the whole thing? Basically. Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't if I'm honest. I think that's a massive risk to take for someone who hasn't really hit double digits this season. Is Ben White starting? I don't know for sure, but I would think so. Maxime, I've already got Kane as well as Mbappe. Keep all black, get Elise into the Szoboszlai and see what budget's left for a striker. Yeah, I don't think I would have the budget because I think obviously Elise is like 1.2 more than Szoboszlai, so I'd need to try and find like another million somewhere. So I probably wouldn't be able to sell Suarez. Between Gyökeres and Alvarez, I prefer Gyökeres this week. Drop Mbappe and free up the money. I think this is kind of where I was at between dropping Mbappe and dropping Vinny. I think I would rather just drop Vinny because there's other midfielders that I would rather have, like Elise for example. I would rather have him, and I'm not really that bothered about selling Szoboszlai. I think I think he's got a good chance of returning for Liverpool tonight. So yeah, Dembele is someone though that I really want. Glenfiddich. Is that not a place? I swear that's a place. I feel like Barca may not deliver today. Yeah, potentially. But that's the risk we take, isn't it? Liverpool team's out, says Brian and Buemo. Look at them, always here, even after a disappointing defeat last night. Oh, what's happened to my... There we go. Let's refresh it. Oh, there we go. Nice. That's pretty good. That's a very early team. Frimpong starting at right back. Get Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Ekitike and Isak. So a 4-2-2. I mean, Szoboszlai's starting high up the pitch, which is ideal. I'm going to assume, yeah, that Ekitike and Wirtz, Ekitike and Isak are up top. So that's what Meerkat was saying. Oh, the whiskey. That's what it is. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. Glenfiddich is definitely a whiskey. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. I can't remember if it was a place or something else, but yeah, that's what it will be. Top 3 differentials this week. I think most probably come from Barca. I think Rashford and Lewandowski. And then... who would be the other one? Gyökeres. Rashford, Lewa, Diaz, Rashford, Lewa, Gyökeres. Yeah, I don't really think there's much other ones that really are that great. I think Frimpong could be a big one this week. See if you're on a Limitless. I think Frimpong could be a really nice one. I feel like every time he starts, he always seems to get some sort of attack in return. So yeah, I think that could be nice in a Limitless this week. Isak's first start. See if we actually... I feel like I miss Isak. He was always such a good player to watch before, and he's just been so bad this year. Obviously riddled with injuries, and anytime he has played, he's just not been exciting. So I would like to see him score tonight. Who would you rank higher, Lewandowski or Rashford? I probably would have to say Lewandowski or Sama, just because he's playing up front. But I do agree he probably does get subbed off early. But I think Rashford's probably got a good chance of getting subbed early too. But trying to think of the possible replacements. I think, is it Bargy? Is he really the only winger they've got available on the bench? I'd like to say Rice. I'd like to sell Rice for Gnabry, or who else for 7 million. Yeah, I think Szoboszlai is definitely the best at 7 million. No worries, Sabaz, thank you. I'll see if I can find some news on Gnabry, because I've seen quite a few people ask about him. Completed some light running on the pitch today with a heavily bandaged right knee, so that was 2 days ago. Was out of the game 3 days ago. Gnabry was seen in team training yesterday. Timber and Calafiori are out, for anyone who was wondering. Yeah, I think Gnabry could be okay. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Musiala was the one starting. Let me see. Anthony Gordon is currently Bayern's top target for the left wing. 60 to 70 million. Why do they need a new left wing? That seems so insane to me. Nah, there's not really too much going on in this account regarding Bayern news. Don't really think Liverpool can beat PSG. I don't think so either. I just think they will score goals. My team's pretty decent at the moment, but it could be better with a wild card. Would you use it or save it in the case of miracles at the matches today? See, this is the perfect opportunity now. I remember it was 2 years ago. Those who kept the wild card for the semi-final absolutely smashed it because of the amount of upsets there was. Now, I think this is kind of looking like that same situation where anyone could still go through, and you could be left with 5-6 players eliminated or more. So I would be looking to wildcard next week if you still have it. Liverpool PSG 2 each. See, I don't mind that. I don't mind that result. Atletico Barca 4-1. Don't mind that result either, especially if I'm picking Rashford up front. They want a backup for Diaz, but I don't see them spending 60 million on it. From a Bayern fan, Gnabry's 80% starting. Cool, thank you Zidane. Between Dembele and Alvarez, I would pick Dembele, but I feel like I'm never really a big fan of Alvarez. I feel like I say this in every stream now. Everyone always asks about Alvarez, and I'm always going against him. Company said that Gnabry would play 120 minutes if necessary. Good news. Oh, Osama's got it as well. Yes, he can play 90 if he has to. He can play 120. Good to know. Good for good for anyone that owns Gnabry still then. We'll see what happens. Now, my question is, if Rashford's benched and I'm forced to go for Diaz up top, do I maybe just not go for Elise because I've got 2 other Bayern attackers and keep Vinicius in there? I don't know. That's something we'll look at when the lineups actually come out. Hour and a half to go. That's actually been a pretty quick hour. Just keep Suarez. I just think if the option's there to upgrade the forward, then I should take it with the lack of available transfers this week, which is why I think I will make the goalkeeper transfer. I hate making a goalkeeper transfer. I never like making a goalkeeper transfer, but it's better than burning the transfer, and it frees up 1.3 million. Has anyone been playing the... I've got 3 minutes left of the chat, the general chat, before we move into full questions. Has anyone actually did the predictions thing? Is it this? Yeah, this. I'm going to do it tonight, just for a laugh. I think I like the score being 2 each. I quite like that. But then, yeah, let's go 2 each. Who will score first? I'll go for Liverpool. What the hell kind of questions is this? Will Szoboszlai score in the second half? No. Will there be a red card? No. Who will be player of the match? Pacho. Nice. Let's predict the next one. Atletico Barca. Atletico got 1 goal. Barca will get 3 goals and it goes to extra time. There will be a goal in the first half. There will be 4 or more goals. They will not both score. The match will go to extra time. Bayern and Real. I think it's going to be 3-2 Bayern. Bayern at home. I think Bayern will score first as well. I think Mbappe and Kane will both score in the match. Elise will get an assist. There won't be a penalty shootout. And then Arsenal Sporting 1-1. The score at half time will be 0-0. Because it's boring Arsenal. Rice won't get an assist. There won't be 3 or more goals. No one will score a penalty. Perfect. Play 2 times booster on the Liverpool match. Nice. I've never done that before, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know if it actually does anything. Nice. Ranked 14k in predictions out of 575k players. I don't know if that's good or not. I'm going to be honest, I've never looked at the prediction thing. But yeah, hey ho, we'll do it this week and see what happens. Right, it's 6:30, which means we are switching over to team chat, team questions. So I'm going to pop a tweet on 6:30 PM, which means for the next hour I will purely be answering team questions. Get in here. Have I still got that shared? I do, nice. Hashtag UCL Fantasy. Post. Okay. We're locking in. Oh, I just realised that was the screen that I was sharing. Oops. Okay. Let's reset the chat. We're up to 183 viewers and we have 63 likes. Oh no, that's not good. Oh, why? There we go. There we go. Okay, we're good. Right. Now, this is where we get into just any question. I'll try my best to try and get in and answer it. Before we get into the questions, I want to see everyone take 2 seconds to jump down to the description and leave a like on the live stream. We are currently at 72. Now, I am not going to answer any questions until we hit 100 likes. Now, there's 176 people in the chat right now, which means 100 of you haven't yet liked the stream. So before we answer any questions, we need to hit 100 likes. $78. There we go. People are starting. Hatham Kayal. That's a wise man right there. 87 likes. There we go. 13 more. 95. There we go. 5 more likes. That was a lot quicker than I thought. Fair play. 98. 2 more likes. Go on. I know there's 2 of you sitting there that haven't liked the video yet. And 101. There we go. Perfect. Thank you very much. That was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be sitting here for a couple of minutes. Nice. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Right. Let's get on to it. Team questions. Would you sell Luis Diaz, Virgil and Vinny for Kane, Elise and Pacho? I have Dembele and Mbappe already. Diaz for Kane, yes. Vinny for Elise, yes. Van Dijk for Pacho. I like those transfers. That looks good. Already liked at the start. Thank you very much, John. As always, legend. Best replacement for Suarez. If obviously budget isn't a thing, then Kane and Mbappe are the 2 obvious ones. If we're taking budget into consideration, Rashford's really good. Who else? Diaz. That kind of thing. Best 6 million defender. I don't know if that includes over 6 million, in which case Nuno Mendes at 6.3 probably is the best one. This week, I think either of Gabriel or Saliba, really good as well. Or I would just downgrade and go for Pacho. Currently 14k rank, 3 transfers, 0.9 in the bank. I have Dembele, I want Kane, how should I get him? Obviously I don't know what the rest of your team looks like. I would keep Dembele though. I think Dembele, Kane and Mbappe is a great front 3 to have. But I think at this point the midfield is probably the best place to downgrade budget. So I would look at doing that. Gyökeres or Mbappe. I would have Mbappe. Valverde to Elise, Cancelo to Ruggeri, 1 more free transfer. Team is Mbappe, Kane, Alvarez, Yamal, Solo, Vinny, Vitinha, Valverde, Pacho, Hakimi, Cancelo. I would probably, I think Vinicius Jr. out or Valverde out. It depends how much money you've got in the bank for Valverde, because I don't think he's going to be a great one to have. So I would probably, I think priority transfer would be Valverde. If you don't have the money to get to someone decent, then I would take Vinny out. Yamal or Alvarez for captain. I would 100% go for Yamal. Bobby, most of the time we don't realise and don't smash the bottom. It's not because we don't like you. I thought I read that as because we don't like you. No, that's fine, Domenico, thank you. Who would you choose as a differential captain? Tonight it would be whichever Barca attacker you prefer out of Rashford and Lewandowski. Tomorrow it would be Dembele. Alright, Bobby. Oh, sorry, I think I missed a couple. You think White will start for Arsenal? I think he will, yeah. Timber's basically guaranteed out, so I think he starts. It'll be White or Mosquera. I think White has a better chance. My forwards are Dembele, Mbappe and Diaz. I want Kane, of course, but what do I do? Again, kind of similar situation. I think if you've got Vinicius Jr. as well as Mbappe, maybe you look to sell him. Oblak, you can maybe look to downgrade. Van Dijk, if you've got him, maybe look to downgrade to try and get Kane in. Mbappe captain. I prefer Kane. Hi Bobby. Van Dijk and Valverde out for Upamecano and Elise. I like it. Looks good. Best replacements for Hincapi, Rafinha and Suarez. I like Pacho. I don't think you've got Pacho in there. Suarez, I mean, if you can get to Mbappe, great. If not, I'd probably just go for a Barca attacker and Rashford, maybe Diaz if you want. Or even Lewandowski. Just a friendly reminder that Yamal will be the penalty taker and not Lewandowski. Good to know. I know, I think I've heard a few people say that, to be fair. Thoughts on Suarez, Vinny and Hanko to Kane, Gnabry and White. Suarez, Vinny, Hanko, Kane, Gnabry, White. I like it. I think there's probably better options than Gnabry and White because White probably doesn't play the next round. It's the same with Gnabry. So I'd maybe look elsewhere. I do apologise. Any question under that has kind of disappeared now. So I've just put that question out again. I'm going to start from the bottom again. John, 3 transfers out. Mbappe, Hanko and Rice, bringing in Dembele, Elise and Upamecano. It's bold taking out Mbappe. The other 2 transfers I really like, but also like Dembele as well, so I like it. Go for it, John. Ross, any big news I need to know about? I think the only news so far is that Salah's on the bench. There doesn't really seem to be much that's came out in the last hour or so other than that. Best Valverde replacement, 8 million max. I like Szoboszlai. I like Vitinha. That's probably it. I can't really think of any else at the top of my head. Which differential captain would you choose tomorrow? You said Dembele, but he starts today. Osama, who have we got playing tomorrow? Bayern and Real. I think there's not really any differential captains in there. It's all pretty obvious. So that would leave you with Arsenal and Sporting. So probably Gyökeres. I think the majority will go for one of Kane, Mbappe or Vinicius as captain. So I think Gyökeres is a good differential one. Van Dijk to Saliba, I like it. Worth taking a -4 to get Kane. I don't think a -4 is ever worth it at this stage of the season. You know, most of our points are like, you know, we get like 50 to 60 points in a round. So that's almost 10% of your total points kind of going towards a hit. So I don't think it's worth it. Plus you get 5 transfers in the next round to get him in if you need him. Dewey will do well. Where are we? Is Rice out for tomorrow? It looks like he might be. I know he wasn't in training today, so potentially. Between White and Hincapié, which one would you recommend? Looking for a low-cost defender. I think Hincapié is the safer one. But I also like Pacho if you've got 5.3 million there. I think Pacho's a really good one to pick up. Kvara or Dembele in for Pacho? Kvara and Dembele in for Pacho or Upamecano. Between Kvara and Dembele, I would go for Kvara this week, and between Pacho and Upamecano, I would go for Pacho. Is Kane, Diaz, Gyökeres a viable front 3? Yeah, I think this week it looks pretty decent. Should I use Limitless this week or save it? I think the Limitless Sam is probably just best using it as soon as you possibly can. So if you don't like the look of your team this week, then just get it used, because everyone's going to end up having the same team as you at some point. If you use the Limitless next week, you'll probably find that like 11, 12 of the same players. You'll have the same players as most of other people, so I'll just get it used as soon as you possibly can. Who am I going to captain? Probably Yamal. And just, I'd be tempted by Rashford, but probably Yamal. Gives me Dembele as captain tonight, and an 8-7 split for each game night. Love it. I actually never even looked at my split. Who was I going to be bringing in? My mouse is turned off. I was going to be bringing in Rashford, Elise, and Safonov. Yeah, it's 2 players playing tonight. Yeah, we're fine. All good. Valverde to Elise. Nice. Cancelo to Ruggeri. 2 transfer I'll certainly do. My last one should be Garcia to Safonov. Vinny to Kvara. Alvarez to a Barca attacker or Dembele. I think out of those 3 transfers, the one that excites me the most would be Alvarez to a Barca attacker or Dembele. Now that's obviously totally up to you with who you want to go for. I really like Dembele though. Ekitike to Gyökeres, Hanko to which defender? I think Hanko to Pacho's pretty decent. I think outside of the obvious ones, I think Patch was a decent one to pick up. I'm just going to put that there. Martinelli, Eze or Madueke as a punt. Probably Madueke. I think he's most likely to start out of those three. Ruggeri or Hodgson. Ruggeri. I feel like I can't transfer him. Suarez, Vinny to Rashford, Elise. Need to trim 0.5. Do I go Ruggeri to Martin or I think Oblak to Sofinov's definitely the move. I was actually looking at Gerard Martin myself as well, but I think he just ends up someone that you want out next week and then you end up stuck with him. Alvarez to Rashford, Salah to Szoboszlai, Suarez to Gyökeres. I like it. I already have Hakimi and Mendes. That's why I was thinking about going for a defender from a different team. Thoughts on 3 defenders from the same team? I mean, I don't mind, especially at this point of the tournament. You can't really, go too far against 3 defenders from the same team. I think best, obviously, is going to be Arsenal with such a high chance of a clean sheet. PSG, if you've already got Hakimi and Mendes, I probably would split it out a little bit. Maybe go for a Bayern defender. Upamecano maybe. Who's most dangerous on corners, Pacho or Marquinhos? I don't know, I don't really have the stats in front of me, but if I'm right, I feel like Marquinhos is very small. Is he not like 5'11"? So I would imagine it would be Pacho. Eze is good. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think Eze's been starting for Arsenal, but maybe with Rice out, Odegaard out, then he might play. Is Upamecano at risk of suspension? It's a good question. Let me find out. He is at risk of suspension, yes. Dinko, how's it going? 2 questions for you. Do people in the UK chuckle when someone has a surname like Rice, or is it normal and people don't pay attention? It always gets the odd meme, I think, doesn't it? But yeah, it is kind of normal now because it is someone who you kind of talk about every single week. So at first, I suppose, yeah, it probably would have been quite funny. The best thing I think for me is definitely like a Polish name. I always remember Błaszczykowski being such a fun name to say. How many people know Błaszczykowski from the Dortmund days? Would you get rid of Szoboszlai, and if so, who would you replace him with? I wouldn't get rid of Szoboszlai, no. I think I'm quite happy keeping him. Forgot the second question. Without Salah, who'll be the penalty taker? I think it's Szoboszlai, isn't it? It's Szoboszlai or McAllister. Oh, there we go. Joe's on it already. Best midfielder for 7.1 who's likely to score decent points. Szoboszlai. You really like Yamal for today? Part of me wants to go Suarez, Vinny and Yamal to Alvarez, Elise and Lookman. I feel like personally I would imagine that Yamal would do a bit better than Lookman. Dewey I like as well, but I prefer the other options around him. Kvaratskhelia, Vitinha, Dembele. Is it worth to sell Dembele for Mbappe? I don't think so. I think both are kind of on the same level this week. Is Stanisic nailed? I don't think so. Laimer can play right back, and obviously Davies is available to play left back as well. Lineups out. Oh, I forgot about the lineups. Jan Venegoor of Hesselink is up there with the craziest names. It was that bit of the shirt, wasn't it? It was the pure long shirt name. That was back. I don't know if you still have to do that back in the days when you had to pay like £1 per letter. I don't know if that's still a thing. Right, where are the lineups? So the Liverpool lineup, as expected. Ferran Torres starts over Lewandowski. Oh. So Ferman starts. We've got what's the team? Cancelo, Martin, Garcia, Koundé, Pedri, Gavi. No Rashford either. Ah. Wow, no Rashford or Lewandowski. Damn, that's messing me up. So up front, I'm guessing it'll be Olmo at left wing. So Ferran up top, Yamal on the right, Olmo on the left, and Ferman in the middle. Interesting. Maybe no, because Olmo's a midfielder. Ah, why do they have to mess me up? I'd have to go for Ferran Torres then. We'll see. Atletico, Musso starts in goals, so no Oblak. Lookman starts, Ruggeri starts. And PSG, no surprises in PSG's team. Alright, well, it's not the end of the world. I don't think that's too bad. Obviously, Rashford kind of messes things up a little bit. But obviously, you just go for the direct replacement in Ferran Torres. Ferman at winger. Yeah, it seems to be Ferman at winger. Happy Ferman is starting, but an awkward lineup. Maybe Barca fans know better. Right. Well, Oblak's going to come out now because it doesn't really open up a lot of transfers for me. And if you're new, if you've just joined the stream recently, obviously I've been talking about not liking a goalkeeper transfer. I still don't. I'm not trying to go against that, but Oblak isn't playing and he plays on the same side of the bracket as Raya. So I'm going to go and move that, make that move to Safonov, who's on the opposite side of the bracket and 1.3 million cheaper, and that way I can just keep them, and that sorts me for the semi-final as well. So that locks in the first transfer. Now we've got 2 transfers left. I still don't like any defenders. I don't want to have these 2 players playing, but there's just no other defender that really stands out to me at all. Unless I was to move Van Dijk onto Mendes, but that's a big gamble with 5 PSG players. So I don't think I'm going to do that this week. It then opens up, I think still Vinicius to Elise is the move that's kind of speaking to me. And then I've got 3 million, which kind of lets me get rid of Suarez. Now, 8 million or cheaper strikers are not exactly in abundance. It's Diaz or it's Torres. But if it's Diaz, then I'm really going all out on Bayern attack, which I don't, I'm not the biggest fan of either. So I think it's going to have to just be Ferran Torres, and then we keep the 1.3 million in the bank for next week. What do we think? Hi Bobby, I have an important question. Kvara instead of Vinny. I would think so, yeah. I would go for Kvara. Going all out. Yamal, Ferman, Olmo and Ferran. Damn. Torres is cheap, solves my budget problems. Thoughts on Cancelo, Valverde and Vinicius to Ruggeri, Molina, Doué and Elise. See, I think Cancelo was one of those players that was in my mind that a lot of people would regret selling, because I think he's got a decent chance of getting an attack in return. Valverde and Vinicius to Dewey and Elise I quite like. Fermin or Olmo, Ekitike or Isak. Obviously we don't really have much to go off of for Olmo, so you could just go for, you know, proven and Fermin. Between Ekitike and Isak, I'd probably pick Ekitike. I don't know how much minutes Isak's going to get, so I think Ekitike is the safer one. Is going without Harry Kane even an option this match day? I don't think so. I think he's the best player to have this week. Hi Bobby, would you do Oblak to Safonov or Dembele to Lewandowski to fund Elise and Olmo? I would do Oblak to Safonov. I think it's a pretty straightforward move for most of us this week. Because it makes it so much easier with Oblak not playing, and I think most of us anyway that have Oblak probably have Raya, so I would just go to Safonov, and it makes things easier for the semi-finals. So you're going with the shark, maybe, maybe. Ekitike for your striker. I'm not gonna go for Ekitike, because then it leaves me with 7 players in the PSG Liverpool game, and I don't want to kind of swing like that. Olive did too good last game. I'm guessing that's Elise. Elise did too good last game. Real might just block him. Like, yeah, that's true. I have 4 PSG players already. Is Hakimi a 5th is Hakimi as a 5th mad? Also Vinny to Elise. I've got Kane and Upamecano from Bayern. I think Vinny to Elise is just a pretty like smart move this week, Joe. I just realised Joe's got the purple badge as well. How long's that? Can I check that? No, it doesn't let me. I tried to hover over. I do apologise. Is Hakimi as a 5th player mad? I mean, I think 5 PSG at this point is a bit much, especially because they look to be playing Bayern next week, and I think Bayern are favourites. In my opinion, I think Bayern would be favourites. Would you sell Szoboszlai or Fermin? Between them both, probably Fermin, to be honest. Fermin's up there with Alvarez for me. For some reason, I just can't get behind either of them. Would you take out Van Dijk, Vinny, Suarez, and get in Dembele, Elise, and Martin? I like Dembele and Elise, but I don't think Martin's really worth picking up, Josie. McFred doing Salah and Ekitike to Kane and Elise. Need to do one of Van Dijk to Saliba or Katamo to White. I think I'd probably go for Van Dijk to Saliba, because I don't think White is a great option long term. Joe going for a second Arsenal defender. That seems like the smart option. Kratos, how are we? Just put the stream on to ask you about Vinicius to Elise and Suarez to Torres, and it looks like exactly what you're doing. Yep, I think at this point I'm kind of left with not really much option. So yeah, probably will be doing the same. Wirtz or Szoboszlai as a 1 week punt. I would go for Szoboszlai. Some weather we're having. Went for Stanisic from Bayern, not a risk of suspension. Fair enough, John. Fair enough. Hi mate, Nuno Mendes and Gravenberch to White and Fermin or Eze. I'd keep Mendes for sure. Yeah, I would keep Mendes. I would keep Mendes, and that would mean keeping Gravenberch. I was thinking the same for long-term security and Saliba minutes. Guys, if you are just joining the stream now as well, I see we've got about 100 new viewers in the last 20 minutes or so. Make sure to leave a like on the stream if you haven't done already. We're up to 121 now, which means half of you have liked the stream, which also means that half of you haven't yet liked the stream. So it takes 2 seconds, just pop down there and press the button. That'd be very, very much appreciated. John, thank you, mate. Best of luck. Best of luck. Why not keep Suarez for money in the bank and then upgrade someone like Ruggeri? Because there's just no defender that I really like, to be honest. I will upgrade Ruggeri. That'll probably have to be next week. But yeah, I'll have money in the bank. I'll have money in the bank to do so, and I'll do that. I'll get that done next week with the 5 free transfers. Plus, Ruggeri obviously plays tonight. Can always sub him out. Would you sell Rice, who missed training, or Ta, who's on a yellow? You've probably got to sell Rice in that situation if you're selling anyone. Obviously, we don't know. Rice could still start. But that's kind of the risk that you've got to take. At least you know Ta is going to play, even if he is on a yellow. What do you think about Madueke? Not the biggest fan, honestly. Torres or Gyökeres. I think Surgeon, to be fair, I'm very much leaning on a Barca attacker. So I think Torres is a good pick. But Gyökeres is going to be better long term. So it really depends what direction you want to go with it. Van Dijk to Pacho. Tempted by it myself. It was one of the moves that I was kind of looking at. If I was to move any defender on, whether it was Ruggeri or Van Dijk, Pacho would probably be one of the #1 picks for me. Is it not better to roll and make changes this next week? Unfortunately, we can't roll transfers in the knockout stages. It is just the league stage that you can roll. Why Sofanov over Joan Garcia? Because Sofanov is on the opposite side to the bracket as Raya is, so I'll have a goalkeeper for each day in the semi-final. Is Ferran Torres good? I don't watch La Liga. I mean, anytime he plays in the Champions League, I feel like he's always pretty decent. I know he doesn't get minutes all that often, but he played at the weekend and he done quite well, so I'm hoping that I can mirror that tonight. Mbappe or Dembele? It's got to be Mbappe. Suarez, Vitinha, Ruggeri out. Diaz, Trincao, Cancelo in. I like Diaz in for Suarez and I like Cancelo in for Ruggeri. I don't think Vitinha to Trincao is going to be a good move though. If you had Doué in defending position in a mini league, would you swap Doué for Kvara? I think Kvara is the best choice, and I would imagine most people in your mini league probably have Kvara. So yes, I think I would just make that move. If it means not burning that 3rd free transfer, then yeah, I'd go for it. I'm actually probably going to sell Pacho for Saliba since Arsenal are more likely to keep a clean sheet. I mean, Arsenal's kind of the exception. I think most people, I think Gabriel, Saliba and Raya is the easy choice. And I think next week, to be fair, next match day, Timber should be back. Mendes will be a pretty obvious pick as well. So I think Van Dijk and Ruggeri go to Timber and Mendes, and you have the quadruple Arsenal defence. And then you have, it'll be quadruple Arsenal defence and it'll be triple PSG defence for me. Depends how excited I am about that, because I'm obviously saying that I think Bayern will beat PSG. Where are we? My strategy for today is to remove 3 players from teams that are likely to be eliminated. Van Dijk for Marquinhos, Vinicius for Simeone, and Suarez for Alvarez. I mean, it's the smart way to play it, isn't it? And I don't mind the guys you're bringing in either. Is Lenormand at risk for suspension? Let me check for you. Lenormand is at risk of suspension, yep. He is indeed. What's my total squad value? Let's have a look. Remove everyone. I think I've lost a bit on Oblak recently. 108.5 is my squad value. Is Rice injured? I think he might be. Well, he wasn't in training. I don't know how much that says about an injury. Potentially he could still play. Shark or Suarez. I mean, Ferran Torres is kind of the transfer that I'm looking at right now, so I probably would go for Ferran Torres. Would you take Ferran over Alvarez? I would, yeah. Just having another look at transfers again. Nah, I don't really think I've got any other option. He comes out for Safanov. He comes out. I would, as much as I would love to get like a Dembele in. Again, I'm going for 5 PSG, so I don't really want to do that actually. Alvarez doesn't excite me. Nah, I think Ferran Torres is the only guy at striker that I can really look at. Yeah, I'm just going to play the way that... yeah, I think I'll just go for the original transfers. Do that towards the deadline. Tempted to put Kvara as captain. I don't mind that as well, to be honest. I think Kvara's a great captaincy pick. But yeah, I think most of us will go for Yamal tonight. What do you think, Vinny for Elise? I like Vinny for Elise. It's one of the moves I'm looking at myself. Martin and Pacho or Ruggeri and Garcia. Ideally, it's Pacho and Ruggeri. I don't know if you can afford that, because I don't really like Martin or Garcia, to be honest. If you have Dembele, would you captain him or still anyone else? I still think Yamal is the best one to go for tonight. Likely going to sell Suarez for Diaz. That's fair. I don't mind that as well. Rob, hello. Virgil to Saliba. Vinny to Elise. Kimmich to Vitinha. With a 5 PSG though. I don't like going for 5 PSG, but I do like all 3 of those transfers. So it depends how much you really want to weigh in on PSG qualifying tonight. Would you take out Dembele for a cheap striker or take out Mbappe for Gyökeres or Alvarez? I wouldn't do any, to be honest. I would keep both Dembele and Mbappe. Still have the wild card. I'd like to keep it in the knockout stages just in case. What do you think about using it now? No, I think Dinko, I think next week's definitely going to be the time to use it, because if there is a lot of upsets tonight, you're going to be in a fantastic position. So I think semi-final first leg outside of the league stage is the best time to use the wild card. What do I think of Trossard? It doesn't excite me all that much, to be honest. Is Calafiori injured? Yes, I think he is ruled out of this week. Hincapié to start tomorrow? I think so, yeah. Would you take out Diaz for Torres? No, I would just keep Diaz personally. Any Barca fans know if Rashford and Leawitt are subbed on? Does Fermin get subbed off and moved to the 10 or Olmo? go off. If any Barca fans know that, drop it in the chat. Dembele or Suarez? Dembele. Fermin or Szoboszlai? Szoboszlai. Diaz and Saliba, or Dembele and Martin? It'd be Diaz and Saliba. Valverde out for Fermin. Yeah, I like that move. Would you keep Ekitike? I mean, if I had Ekitike, I probably would keep him, but I wouldn't buy him. Upamecano or Stanisic? I would go Upamecano because he is more likely to play. If you don't have funds for Saliba, which Arsenal defender would you recommend? It'd have to be Nketiah, but I'm not all in on Nketiah either, to be honest, but he would be the one that makes the most sense. Is it worth doing Vinny to Fermin and Ruggeri to Saliba? Nah, I don't think I would much rather have Vinny than Fermin this week. Where are we? Joe, how are we? How are we? Just joined. Thinking of Alicia Mendes and Neuer for Vinny, Virgil and Urbig. Yeah, I don't mind that. It's not too bad. Dembele or Mbappe? Mbappe. Oh, excuse me. FPL lads, how are we? Vinny and Trincao better than, Vinny and Trincao to Elise and Olmo. Yeah, I like that. Mbappe to Ferran's also an option. I wouldn't say that's worth it either, no. I think Kane and Mbappe are the two no sells this week. Stanisic to Eric Garcia, I would probably keep Stanisic. Vinny, Suarez and Oblak to Elise, Diaz. I don't know who Sofa is. I'm trying to think of who it could be, but I don't know. But Olise and Diaz I quite like. I'm just going back to the bottom of the chat again because it has just skipped over the top. Would you buy Olmo this week? I like him as a punt, yeah. I think I probably would go for Fermin over Olmo though. Looking at Ferran's minutes, it seems like he gets subbed at half time a lot. Is that not worrying? Right, I'll have a look in a sec. Osama, Diaz or Ekitike? I would pick Diaz, Osama. Let's have a look at Ferran's minutes. The problem is, you know that Lewandowski's going to come on at some point, don't you? Jeez, those minutes are terrible. 74, 17, 45, 45. Ouch. Yeah. Oh, why do things have to be so difficult? Why could Lewandowski or Rashford not just start? Oh. Jeez, oh. Right. I'm coming very close to the microphone right now. I have more minutes in the Lou than Torres does in La Liga. What to do? It's a very tough situation now because you guys are starting to put me off Torres. I don't want to just play with that though because I don't know. I really don't like Suarez as a pick. See, I know if you're talking about selling Ruggeri or Van Dijk, and I want to sell Ruggeri or Van Dijk, I just don't want to do it this week because there's no one that looks good this week. I mean, would you maybe just do the sideways move and do Van Dijk to Nuno? But then again, 5 PSG is very risky. What happened to Dembele? I don't think so. I think sorry, I don't think anything happened to Dembele. I think he's all right. Vitinha out to keep Vinny and get Elise. Oh, do you know what? That's actually not a bad shout. Ooh. What do we think of that? Now that's something I can get behind. Now I really don't want to sell. I really don't want to sell Vitinha. I really don't want to sell Vitinha, but for 1 week, because I'll just buy him back next week. Because at the end of the day, one of Vinicius and Elise is going to be coming out. I actually have the same problem as you. Kicked out Dembele and Vinny for Kane and Elise. But if I swap from Oblak to Sofanov, I can go -4 to get Torres for Suarez. Fantasy hard, me Angie. What's wrong with 5 PSG? I'm likely to end up on Dembele. What on top of the 4 that you've got? I mean, it's a big gamble to take in case Liverpool come back and win this. Just joined the stream. What are your thoughts on Barca? And is there anyone from that front 4 you'd consider bringing in? I mean, I was considering bringing in Ferran Torres, but I've kind of been put off with that now by the chat. Other than that, not really. Vitinha gets like 4 points max every game. I thought you liked Dembele as an outside captaincy shout. I do like Dembele as an outside captaincy shout, I just can't afford him. Can you afford Diaz for Suarez even if you kept Oblak? I think I can, but I don't want to have Kane, Elise and Diaz. How many transfers do we get next round? We get 5 transfers next round. He didn't do too good last week, but it's always when you sell they deliver. I know Vitinha's one of those, like, he's one of those guys as well that picks up player of the match in these rounds. He's not done much. How is his... He's the most owned midfielder in the game. If Liverpool are eliminated, you're going to get Mendes next game week anyway. I'm a United fan. If Liverpool muster a comeback, there's bigger problems than fantasy. Captain for today, it'll be Yamal, Pedro. Torres or Diaz. I've been telling everyone Torres because I really liked Torres at first, but now everyone's convinced me that Torres isn't a good option. So, yeah. What do I think of Lookman? He doesn't excite me all that much. I think there's so many good midfielders this week that Lookman probably be lucky to make the top 10. Khalifa, thank you very much for the 7 Durham donation. I do really appreciate that, thank you. Dembele or Alvarez, also Fermin or Olmo. I definitely prefer Dembele over Alvarez. And between Fermin and Olmo, I'd probably just go for Fermin. For Dembele or Alvarez, I think Dembele's got a good chance of doing well this week. So does Alvarez, to be fair, but I just think Dembele overall is the better choice. Between Furman and Olmo, it's obviously very much a 50-50. Either of them could do well, but I would just play the safe option. Get Furman, who you know is likely to start if Barca make it through to the semis. And he's also the one that's done a lot better so far this season. So yeah, that would be my opinion on that. But thank you very much for that donation. That's very kind of you. Do suppose lie to Olmo for a laugh. What are we doing here? This is extremely serious. Still think Ferran with imperfect minutes is an upgrade on Suarez. It's not you're not wrong. I think the problem with this as well, am I not buying players who don't play tonight? No, I'm not actually, I'm forgetting. PSG play tonight. Torres' minutes are just terrible, aren't they? Dominico, $5 donation, thank you very much. Hi Bob, is too much to gamble. Mbappe to Alvarez, Vinny to Lookman, or Big to Stefanov. Your 15 players is Raya, Stefanov, I like it. Hakimi, Van Dijk, Gabriel, Saliba, I like it. Kvara, Fermin, Olise, Sob, and Lookman, and then Dembele, Diaz, and Alvarez. I think the best thing for you to do is try and get Kane in that team. Dembele, Diaz and Alvarez is not a bad front three, but the rest of your team looks great. Urbig to Stefanov is a great move. I like that. It makes sense. Especially in this week. I think you're not really going to get another opportunity to transfer a goalkeeper, so I think it would be this week to do it. I don't know if I like Vinicius to Lookman. Lookman's another one who doesn't really get all that many minutes, and at some point he will probably get he'll probably get subbed off, because obviously he's not exactly the most physical player, and if we get into that second half where Atletico are still defending a lead, he probably comes off for a more physical player. So I think I would much rather have Vinicius Jr. there. Mbappe to Alvarez, I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan either. I think I'd much rather have... I think you've got to have one of Vinicius or Mbappe, so you can make that choice between them both. In your case, you know, I think I would rather do Mbappe to Alvarez than Vinicius to Lookman, but I would much rather have Mbappe in my team, if that makes sense. So obviously got to kind of look at that and see what's best. If you want to do maybe Mbappe to Kane, I think that makes sense, and keep Vinicius, and then you don't have to go to Lookman. But yeah, that would be my opinion on those transfers. But thank you very much as well for the $5. Again, I really appreciate that. What Arsenal backline is predicted? Harry, I think it's Hincapié, Gabriel, Saliba and White. Would you keep Trincao or sell him to get Fermin, Gnabry or Madueke? I don't like Trincao all that much at all this week. So if I was to sell him for one of those three players, it would probably be Fermin. Joe, off topic, but who will win the league in Scotland? I hate to say it, I really hate to say it, but I think it'll probably be Rangers. Might do all black Rice to Safonov and Elise and waste a transfer. Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty smart. Obviously, you don't want to be making transfers just for the sake of making transfers. The more I'm looking at this, the more I think I just go for that and keep Suarez. I really I would love to get another Barca attacker in there. There's just nothing that's standing out. Ferran's minutes aren't good enough. Ferman, obviously the rest of them all listed as midfielders. That midfield is really... I really like that midfield because everyone in that midfield is capable of a massive haul. And I think in terms of Vitinha is usually my number... Vitinha is my number one pick all the time. Osama, would you pick Ferman or Vitinha just for this week? See, this is what I'm kind of saying already. Like, I really like Vitinha a lot. And to be honest, I probably still would pick him over Ferman. I'm just not the biggest fan of Ferman Lopez. But overall, I just think this week I maybe just go for someone with a big, like, huge haul potential. I know Vitinha can hit that, but when Dembele is on the park, he seems to be taking the penalties as well, so it kind of takes that away from Vitinha. I think I'll maybe just take Vitinha out this week and then move him back in next week, because obviously one of Vinicius and Elise have to come out. One of Kvaratskhelia or Szoboszlai have to come out next week, so I'll have 2 midfield spots available, and I'll just bring Vitinha back in. But I think for this week, I'll maybe just make that transfer. Isn't Neuer a better option for the semi-finals than Safonov? How much is Neuer? I see 6 million. It's just the price, really. He probably is, yeah, but I don't want to pay another 6 million on a goalkeeper when 4.4 for Safonov's right there. Ekitike or Luis Diaz? Osama, it'd probably be Luis Diaz, to be honest. Focacci's... You'll have more money once you switch back to Pacho. Yeah, that too. Hi Bobby, thanks for the stream and your videos. Who's the best 4.3 defender you can think? Solarfly, thank you very much. It probably would have to be Ruggeri. He is 4.3 million. I can't think of anyone else that's really that great. I don't like Ruggeri all that much. Defenders this week just really aren't at the top of my priority list. I don't think any of them really do that great, which is why I'm kind of tempted just to go for Nuno Mendes, because I've got the budget now and he's capable of the attack and returns. So I'll maybe just look there, but yeah, there's not really much you can do with 4.3. FPL sits, I have Hanko. Should I go for a Bayern defender? Do transfers roll over? They don't, unfortunately. Also, I'm going to Scotland next month on vacation. Where are you going? I would love to know, because I always find it fascinating when people come here for a holiday, so I want to know where people actually go. But yeah, to answer your question, they don't roll over. And Hanko to a Bayern defender is not a bad move. Yeah, I think Upamecano is going to be the best one. Ta is on the same kind of level. Both of them look quite good, but they're both at risk of suspension if they pick up a yellow card. Best defenders with ball recoveries. I think the top 3 right now is Pacho, Mendes, and potentially Van Dijk. I can't remember. Pacho and Mendes is definitely the top 2 anyway. Sell Pacho or Upamecano to Ruggeri. Jamie, I would keep both. I would try and get rid of Ruggeri for one of those two. So, yeah, I would keep both of them. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm back to this. I've got a 7-8 split again this week. I really thought bringing in 2 PSG players would have been enough. But I suppose I'm getting rid of a PSG player. Yeah, I'm really not changing anything. That's annoying. I think I have to go for the Shark. It's a big risk, obviously. Osama. It is obviously a big risk. But it's obviously one of those ones that can make or break the game week. Or the season, really. A few people saying they might risk Ferran. Fermin Lopez will be on fire tonight. He's the killer in set pieces. Might just risk Ferran. I don't want to sub on Suarez. I feel that. You're right, but I really don't like 4 PSG and 3 Bayern versus 1 Madrid. Fair. If they're short results, I'll be taking lots of hits in the semis. Yeah, fair enough. Exactly. The positive of Ferran is that he gets subbed out tonight, and I totally agree. I think that's the best thing you can do with your differentials, is pick someone that plays on the first day, because if it doesn't work, you can just sub them out anyway. I'm still stuck. I think this has got to be the moves for me. Yeah, I think there's got to be. I don't really feel as though anything else makes as much sense. Ferran is obviously the differential, but I like these moves, and I kind of wanted to keep Vinicius Jr. So that leaves me with 2 Bayern against 2 Real. So that's at least 2 moves. 2 people coming out. I've got 4 PSG against 1 Liverpool. So if we're back in what the stats say, that'll be another transfer for Szoboszlai. I've got 3 Arsenal versus 1 Sporting, so that should be 1 Sporting player coming out. And then I've got 1 Barca versus 1 Atletico, so that should be the 5th. So I think that should be fine, as long as there's no injuries. I think no matter what happens, I probably will have 5 eliminations for matchday 15, and then we get 5 transfers. So that's probably what we go and do. Slot has said pre-game he doesn't expect Isak to play more than 45 today, so why is he starting him? Interesting. I mean, that kind of... That's good for it's kind of good for Salah, isn't it? Because it'll probably be Salah that comes on. I think I've got to go for this as my transfers, because next week the budget doesn't matter. Tonight the budget does matter, because I can't get a striker worth more than 8 million for Luis Suarez, but next week I'm going to have 5 transfers. I'm going to have to take out one of Mbappe or Kane. I'm probably going to have to take out Vinicius Jr. as well, and it's going to free up a ton of budget, especially when Vinicius goes to Vitinha, and I save like 2.7 million. Yeah, I think I'll be fine. So I think I'll move Suarez next week. At the end of the day, Suarez is still going to be a differential. Sporting have to come and win against Arsenal. The odds don't really say that he's going to do that great. I think if we look at the projected goals over on the right hand side of the screen, 0.8 projected goals for Sporting. Not expected to do very well whatsoever. But that's the risk you take, and that's kind of why I brought Suarez in the first place. I think he's only really done well in one game. Yeah, that's not ideal. 2-11-2 since I brought him in. Hope he can pick up some sort of return against Arsenal to make that worth it. In your case, what about Nuno for Pacho, ditch Vinny for Elise, and sell Suarez for Diaz? I did look at that, Tomas, sorry, I want to say that's pronounced. I just don't want to have 3 Bayern attackers. That would leave me with Kane, Elise, and Diaz. Do you think Szoboszlai can do anything against PSG? I think he's probably the most likely to do something. Rice to Olmo or Big to Safonov and Ta to Saliba. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Would you use the Limitless if you still have it, saying that you said just the budget doesn't matter next week? Yeah, I think so. The budget, I mean, next week as well for the semi-finals, everyone's going to have the same team as well, which you've got to keep in mind. So yeah, I would use the Limitless as early as you possibly can. Tim, with £5 donation, thank you very much. Again, I feel like everyone's been very generous tonight. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Who's the best captain tonight? I think it's got to be Lamine Yamal. I think there is a shout for someone from PSG as well. However, the thing that breaks it for me is that Barca are chasing the game, so it's got to be a Barca player for me. If you want to go differential, I think Ferran Torres is a huge punt to go for based on these minutes, and Lewandowski will definitely come on at some point. So I think Yamal is going to be the best captain tonight. But thank you very much, Tim. I really appreciate that. Plus Suarez is a penalty taker. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good thing as well for Suarez. If it does end up with a penalty for Sporting, then yeah. Thing is, I think most of the game, based on Arsenal's play style, am I wrong in saying that the game might just be played in Arsenal's box for the most of it? In which case, obviously, there's more of a chance of a Sporting penalty. I don't know. I think I'm kind of convincing myself now that this is the way to go. No, Tim, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Do you think Stanisic starts? I don't want to say yes. I would think... I would say potentially, but I think Limer's available and Davies is available, so obviously it's kind of hard to say yes at this point. I want Ferran, so who should I bench between Dembele, Mbappe and Kane? I think with that front three, you've really got to keep that front three. Honestly, if you desperately want Ferran, the player to sell is probably Dembele, but I really wouldn't be selling Dembele to Ferran Torres. Rank Ferman, Torres or Olmo? I don't worry about it, Thomas. I would probably go for Torres, then Ferman, then Olmo. Best 2 goalkeepers, and would you get Vinny or Ferman as a differential? No limit on the budget. If there's no limit on the budget, it's definitely Vinicius over Ferman for me. Best 2 goalkeepers, again, if budget isn't an option, it would be Raya and Neuer. for the rest of the tournament, because they're both on opposite sides, so they both play on different days, and I think that probably is going to be the final, Arsenal versus Bayern. So that would be my pick. If the budget did matter, then it would be what I've got on screen. Why not a Sporting defender? Only 1-0 down in the last time they did a comeback. They didn't concede that game. I mean, it's not a bad shout. I just wouldn't be... I think if I had a Sporting defender, I would maybe keep them. I'd probably try and find a way to sell them, to be honest, because I don't think they'll go through, but I wouldn't be buying any, personally. What about selling Dembele to Kane? I think Vinny to Elise is better. I just don't think selling Dembele is a move at all this week. Arsenal will park the bus. They don't concede penalties though. Might do. They might now that I've said it. I hope so. I really hope so. Thoughts on Ekitike, or should I change to someone else? I think if you can change to someone else, then go for it. I think Ekitike is probably like 7th on my list of strikers this week. But I see no harm in keeping him either. Because if Isak's starting, Isak's going to get benched at some point, so there's probably a good chance that Ekitike plays the full 90, unless Gakpo comes on up front. Who's playing as the false 9? Olmo or Torres? From the lineup pictures I've seen, Olmo's playing in the 10, and then it's Fermin and Yamal on the wings with Ferran Torres up front. Sorry for pointing out Torres' minutes. I am going for Oblak, Vinny and Suarez to Safanov, Elise and Torres. If he scores, he stays on. If not, he's subbed to banker on Suarez scoring, which is unlikely. I know. I mean, to be fair, I have been totally put off of Torres now because of the minutes, because for sure Lewandowski is going to come on at some point, if we're being honest. And based on those minutes, he probably comes on quite early. So yeah, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna stick with Suarez. Suarez is he'll play the full game most likely, at least most of the full game, and he has penalties, and he's still playing for a team that's chasing. So I'm going to stick with him. Domenico, one last question: Gyökeres or Alvarez? I prefer Gyökeres. So I was like captain, 25k rank, so need to go differential. I don't mind it. I do not mind it. Especially tonight. I mean, I'm saying I want to go Yamal captain, and I probably will still go Yamal captain, but tonight's probably the night to go for your differential captain if anyone's thinking about it. If anyone really needs to grab rank tonight, the differential captain's got to be tonight, because tomorrow you've got Kane as your backup, who has a 70% chance of an anytime goal or assist. So yeah, I think if you need to gain tonight, go for the differential captain. Am I using all 3 transfers? I think I will, yeah, just kind of to set up for the rest of the tournament as well. No worries, Domenico. Remember to ask everyone to like the stream. That's exactly right, Maxime. We've got 303 people in the stream right now. 164 likes, which is huge. But again, 50% of you have not liked the stream. So if you haven't liked the stream yet, drop down. Takes 2 seconds. And press the thumbs up button. Very much appreciated. We'll see if we can hit 200 likes for the deadline as well. That would be huge. So that would require 35 of you to jump down and press the thumbs up button. Best defender for 5.8. Already have Gabriel, Saliba, Pacho and Hakimi with Raya in net. Oh, that's frustrating that you can't get Mendes. Probably... That is really tough, actually. Maybe a Pumecano and kind of spread it a little bit and go for another defence. Duncan, is there any news on the Arsenal predicted lineup defence? I know that Timber's out and Calafiori's out, so that probably leaves Hincapié, Gabriel, Saliba and White, but potentially Mosquera could fit in there somewhere. Sell Dembele for Kane. I think Kane's the best player you can get this week, so I would try my best not to sell Dembele, but I really would want to get Kane in. Who will you keep as Capitan today? Firecracker, I'm going to go for Yamal and just play the safe option. Thank you, guys. How many transfers do we get next round? Joe, we get 5 transfers next round. We're also up to 181 likes, guys, as well. So that is 19 more people to hit that big 200. If you haven't done it already, please take 2 seconds to jump down and leave a like on the stream. Why not Gyökeres as forward? I do like Gyökeres as a forward. I just think there's maybe... Who would I prefer over Gyökeres? I would prefer to buy this week Kane, Mbappe, Dembele, Ferran, then probably Gyökeres, then Alvarez. Hi, well, we just saw the lineups. Which midfielder from Ferman starts? Which midfielder from Ferman, Lookman or Szoboszlai? I would pick Szoboszlai there personally, M. Dot. Besides Gabriel, Saliba, Raya, which other Arsenal defender would you add? I would have to go for Hincapié. I think he's probably... I don't think he's great, but I think he's the best. Why not keep Joan Garcia? I don't have Joan Garcia. Scythe, I've got Oblak in there who I'm going to be selling. My captain's going to be Yamal. Thoughts on Valverde? Not the biggest fan. I think there's so many good midfielders to pick from this week. Ferran is a midfielder. No, Ferran's listed as a forward. I think he's 6.7 million. I think I'm going to stick with Vinny, Suarez and Oblak to Elise, Torres and Safonov. I think that's kind of where I'm at now. It's that is the 50-50 for me. So it's basically, what have we got? So it's Vinny, Suarez and Mendes, or Ferran, Vitinha and Van Dijk. I think that's the 3, is that is the choice, isn't it? So Suarez, Vitinha, Mendes. Suarez, Vinicius, Mendes, or Van Dijk. So between Mendes and Van Dijk, it would be Mendes. Between Vinicius and Vitinha, I would pick Vinicius. And between Suarez and Ferran, I would pick Ferran. So it's kind of 2-1 there. So I'm going to stick with what I've got. 10 more likes in 14 minutes. Maxime has spoke. We're at 190 likes now, which means we need 10 more to hit 200 likes, which would be huge. Now, I'm going to lock in this team. Van Dijk, Oblak, Vitinha, Mendes, Safonov and Elise. And I'm going to buy back Vitinha next week. Boom. Let's do it. Kvara in, Suarez out, and then Saliba. And let's put stinky Suarez at the back. Done. That's right, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And then I need to change captain, which is going to go to Lamine Yamal. 15, 15, 15, 15. Perfect. Nice. Locked in. 201 likes. There we go. Thank you very much. Perfect timing. Appreciate all of you. That is massive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, that makes sense, Kratos. Fair. Unlimited money, best defense in your opinion. I've got Mendes, Hakimi, VVD, Gabriel, and Saliba. I would have Pacho instead of Van Dijk, but I also don't mind having, like, if you want to have Van Dijk this week, go for it. I don't think he's the best option, so I think Pacho long term is going to be the better pick, so that's probably what I would do. Do you think White and Hincapié are good punts? I'd probably have Hincapié over White. I think Sporting will score. I think even though the odds are very, very low and very high for an Arsenal clean sheet, I still think Sporting will score. How close are you between Yamal and Kvara as captain? I'm only going for Yamal because Barcelona are chasing this week. No other reason. If it was the opposite way around, I would go for Kvara. Ousmane Dembele captain this week, trying my luck. Best of luck then some. I hope it works out for you. Safonov or Garcia. It depends who your other goalkeeper is. If your other goalkeeper is Raya, then Safonov, because Garcia and Raya will play each other in the next round. Again, we can kind of look at that here. So, yeah, the first semi-final was played on the 28th. Second semi-final was played on the 29th. The winner of PSG, Liverpool, plays the winner of Bayern, Real Madrid. So if you pick Joan Garcia and you've already got Raya, then they'll play each other on the same day, on the 29th. So if you've got Raya already, best choice is to pick a goalkeeper from the other side of the bracket, which is PSG, Liverpool, Real Madrid and Bayern. Then obviously Safono is only 4.4 million, so it makes sense to go for him. Fair shout on Pacho. Can't have him because I've already got 5 PSG. Oh, well then. I suppose Van Dijk's probably the best one to go for then. The problem with Barca chasing is Atletico are holding. We know we can do that well. Yeah. Vinny and Suarez to Elise and Gyökeres. I like it. Nice. Filka, 20 more likes. Exactly, why not? We're at 256 viewers and we're... Oh, I nearly dropped the whole mic off the table. We're at 256 likes, 256 viewers and 207 likes. Who's to say that we can't have more likes than viewers? So if you haven't liked the video yet, liked the stream yet, jump down. We already hit our 200 target, but let's see how high we can get it. Sell Rice, sell Ekitike. I would sell Rice before I sold Ekitike just in case Rice doesn't play, because he obviously is a little bit of a doubt right now. I honestly have no idea how to like the stream on mobile. Is it not? I feel like it's right. See, like when you turn the camera and you've got the screen at the top and then like the description bit, I feel like there's just a wee thumbs up button there. Unless it's different, I'm not sure. Sobo out for Fairman, worth a punt. I don't think so. I'm a pretty big fan of Szoboszlai this week. I think he could do quite well. Your Yamal captaincy point is fair, but Liverpool are chasing, so they'll leave loads of space in the second half. Yeah, I mean that's also fair. I suppose, you know, what a decent captaincy shout could be one of Hakimi or Mendes. I feel like they always are the obvious. Like for a long time, they were the obvious captaincy choices. It's just the past few weeks no one's really been talking about them as much. I can give you a floating heart emoji if that's anything. That means the world, Steve Shah. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I think Hakimi Mendes, again, another really good outside shouts for captaincy. Where else are we at? Would you do Ta to Mendes or Saliba as I have a spare transfer? Probably, yeah. To like on YouTube mobile, you have to remove the chat for a second and pop it back up after smashing that thumb button. So graphic, I love it. Gyökeres to Alvarez. I prefer Gyökeres this week. Captain Kvaratskhelia or Alvarez? Kvaratskhelia. Ricky, thank you very much. Liked with both accounts and the wife's account. Now that is dedication. That is a legend right there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thoughts on Ferran captaincy? It's a huge... I think only Captain Ferran if you really need to go for a differential pick. But the minutes aren't great for him, which you've got to really take into consideration. Oh, you've done it. Steve Shaw has liked the video. Thank you, mate. Is Gnabry a good differential? I seen from someone earlier that were saying he's got an 80% chance of starting. So if he's going to start, then I don't see why not. I think he's probably the worst of the 4 attackers, though. I think Diaz, Kane, and Elise are all better. In the top 3k, captaincy between Yamal or Szoboszlai. I mean, you're kind of in the same position as me. I'm 4.4k. I'm just going to go for Yamal. But it's really up to whatever you think's best. We've got 5 minutes left now, guys, as well. So if you haven't yet liked the video... sorry, I'm obviously too used to saying that. If you haven't yet made your transfers, jump off and go make your transfers. But like the video as well, if you haven't already. Might as well, while you're on your way out. But yeah, 5 minutes to go. So don't get stuck here. Let's have a look. We'll have a look at some other teams, shall we, in the last 5 minutes. Should I sell Vinicius or Dembele? I would sell Vinicius. I'm going to quickly screenshot this team so I can post my Twitter one. Great deadline stream. Once again, liked on both my accounts. Thank you, Gerben. Massively appreciated. Just switch captain from Yamal to Dembele. I think Liverpool with the double strikers will leave tons of room for Dembele to get a brace and man of the match. I like the thinking. Dembele or Yamal for captaincy? I would go Yamal. I think Yamal is the best captain tonight. Joaquim has put his team out, last year's winner. Transferred out Hanko, Vitinha and Dembele to buy Hincapié, Elise and Gyökeres. That's all in on Arsenal this week. Captain Yamal. This stage of the season, I generally... It's a lot of work and reading. I'm going to bookmark that and read that in a little bit. But he's also keeping Suarez, which kind of gives me a good sense of security on that one. Szoboszlai captain, needs some magic to get me up the ranks. Fair. I hope that works. I hope that works. Because I would love for Szoboszlai to get a big haul. Glasgow to Glencoe to Isle of Skye to Inverness to Edinburgh to Loch Lomond back to Glasgow. Wow, fair. I would love to do that. Glencoe's fantastic. Glencoe's such a nice place. Loch Lomond's also great. There's a bit in Loch Lomond called Luss, which is really nice. Glasgow, you've got to do the Kelvin Grove stuff. That's probably the nice part of Glasgow, kind of in the West End. Kelvin Grove's a really nice area. Loch Lomond, Glencoe's fantastic. I've heard Skye is amazing. I would like to go myself. I've heard it's so good. Inverness, Culloden and Loch Ness. I actually don't know much about Inverness, to be fair. And then Edinburgh as well. That sounds like such a good trip. I'm jealous. I should really do that myself sometime. I'd like to just take like a week in the summer and just drive. But yeah, you've definitely picked all the good places. Are you doing any football stadium tours while you're here? Are you just here for the views? Filka, thank you very much for coming as well. Best of luck to yourself. Bring a jacket. Not wrong. I think the weather's supposed to be horrendous for the next wee little bit, as always. Right guys, 2 minutes. If you haven't done your team, do your team. Not got long to go. Who should I downgrade? Vinny, Soboslai or Vitinha? Or leave them all and get Pacho and Lenormand? I would leave them all. I would keep Vinny, Soboslai and Vitinha. $40. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there because it's been 2.5 hours and my ass is killing me in this seat. So I don't want to stream any longer than I have to. And I would like to get up. And I can't really go for a walk because the weather's still terrible. Nice and rainy and grey outside as always. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for coming out as well. I think we had a very, very nice turnout. Obviously a massive 221 likes, so thank you to everyone who did come out to the stream today. It was a pretty big one, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Sit's going at the end of May. Planned on going to a game, not sure what game yet. Are you going to get... I think the last day of the season's the 19th, isn't it? As much as I would say come to a Celtic game, I don't know if you'll get tickets for the last day of the season, so if you can't, I mean, you probably won't get tickets for Hearts at this point either, but yeah, I would definitely recommend, especially if it's the last day of the season. Rob, thank you very much. Joe, thank you mate, appreciate it. M. Dot left the keyboard in the final minute. Dinko, thank you for coming out as well, appreciate you. M. Dot, thank you. Top 5, hope you get top 1.5k after Wednesday's results. If we finish this match days in the top 1.5k, we are doing very well and looking very good, so I hope that is the case. Right, I'm going to hop off. That is the game updated now, so thank you all so much for coming along. As always, best of luck. I will be active on Twitter probably as well, so make sure to keep an eye on there. But yeah, FPL stuff this weekend. So hopefully I'll see you all there as well. Thank you all so much for coming out. And I'll see you all in 2 weeks when the semi-final is. 2 or 3 weeks. Right, I'm away. Goodbye.
Sound white, boy.
It sound right, boy.